Hi, this video is to demonstrate some workflow for Catapult Modeling. So the first thing I'm going to do is show that intuitively we might want to start with just creating some of our components. So I believe we have a 2 and 15/16 by 11.5 inch base. So we could begin by modeling this base, and it's 3/16 of an inch tall. Then we could continue I'm going to make this a component right away. G is the shortcut key for making component. I could also right click, so I'm going to call this the base. The value of making this a component is that now it won't interfere with other things we're modeling. So I could continue to, I'm going to use my arrow keys here to lock in that plane. I could continue just modeling these different parts. The beams are 1/4 by 1/4 inch. Okay, and I could push-pull that, of course, to any length. Now, because the base is already a component, I can select that beam on its own. I can group it. G for make component. I can call this a beam. Okay. Now with that done, I could of course rotate these beams. My rotate tool is over here in the suite with the move tool. I also like the Q for rotate. Note I can use my arrow keys to change the plane of rotation. Okay, so one option is modeling these things in 3 dimensions and then rotating and moving them where they need to be. I can move from this corner to that corner. I can do things like get inside this component with a double click, and I can move just this line down. So I think we should know how to arrow key to lock that in the up and down plane. That's actually not working very well. Up arrow key? Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so so this is one option. It gets a little tricky when you start to try to trim things. So for example, I could copy this piece using the move and the control function. I could do some rotating. Because of the speed I'm working at, things maybe can start to get a little messy pretty fast. But if I come to the point where I need to start trimming this model to make things line up, it can be done, but I think there's a better way. So I'm just going to Control A and delete everything, and show you sort of a totally different approach. I'm going to go to my view and take a front view with a parallel projection. So I'm working on a really flat plane here. And now, again, I could use the rectangle tool. This time I'm going to make a rectangle 11.5 by, or maybe it's 3/16 is first, I'm not even sure. I could also use my line tool. 3/16 tall by 11.5 inches. Okay, and that of course didn't come out exactly the way I want. Why don't I just show that I can pretty easily use my Q for rotate to, need to select all before I do that, and then rotate everything down. Okay, 90 degrees. A little perplexing here. I could also have drawn this using my line tool. So now I don't exactly have a base, I just have a rectangle that represents that in 1 dimension. I'll go back to this perspective. Now I can use my protractor tool, found here with the tape and dimensions and such, to set out some really specific angles. Click again, and now I can type in any angle I like. 45 is of course a common starting point, but I could use this to set launch angles or to place these beams at any angle that I like. Now that I have this line laid out a bit, I can start tracing some of these things out in 2 dimensions. So I can use my line tool to just trace around these guides. Okay. I'm a little uncertain right now how I want to come off of this 1/4 inch, but maybe, well, I think that using the T for tape should be able to get me some guidelines here, and I'll just type in 1/4, and here I will type in 1/4, and now I can simply use my line tool to trace these the way that I want. And if I want these 2 beams to meet at an angle, I can draw that into the line there. When I connect all of these, I should have see if I'm creating a face that can be push-pulled. I have a face there. I do not have a face here, so I'm not sure if this is the line that I missed. It looks like I need a line here as well to make that its own face. Okay, now I can delete, take a look at what I've got. And it's just a little easier working this way to now push-pull this out 1/4 inch. And I can just double-click here. Oh, I think I went the wrong direction. I might suggest that as you create these individual beams and pieces, that you make them components now. So a triple click should select all connected geometry. I'm going to use Shift to deselect these items. I believe I have what I want now for making this component. So I'll call this angled beam or something. I can push-pull the base out 2 and 15/16. Okay, so I think we'll stop there. I just wanted to show you those sort of two different approaches to modeling, and to recommend that parallel projection and using some 2-dimensional sketches that can then be extruded to make the components that you want. It will save you time in terms of trimming and aligning things later.